Hey everybody, welcome back to Battle Ready Inc. So BT8 has been out for about 2 weeks now, give or take, and the market is starting to settle. We've got a few things that are still dropping literally like day by day, but for the most part, everything is starting to settle out. We're starting to get settled into the format now, starting to kind of see what decks are doing what. We do have more regionals again this weekend, which could affect the market again, depending on if there's a shift in the meta. Right now we're seeing a ton of security control, the yellow rapid, yellow hybrid rapid, as well as a lot of Imperial, which we expected that to see. If you saw our meta tier prediction video, literally those are the only two decks I had in S tier. Everything else was A tier or below, and so far we've definitely seen exactly that of just those two decks. Now there is of course always room for breakout of something else that could just enter the meta by storm and just completely blow the others out of the water that we haven't seen yet, which could happen this weekend. There's lots of regionals, lots of big tournaments going on this weekend. But until then, let's go ahead and just take a look at what the market is doing right now, and if nothing does break out, then we can probably expect these prices to kind of just settle a little bit where they're at now and just kind of stay the course for at least a few more weeks. Also, don't forget our new memory marker this month is Narrowmon. This is handmade out of clay by my wife, hand painted as well. Very adorable. If you're playing some yellow decks or a Mastemon deck this format, this is a fantastic memory marker for you. So you can check that out. Our link for it is in the description below for our Etsy store. Also there you can see all of the previous memory markers that we've had on the channel, as well as now we've got Battle Ready Inc. merch like our game mats, sleeves, and our brand new dice. All right, so we've got BT8. This is just the top cards in BT8 here pulled up. A whole lot of just kind of what we expect to see in general. Ryudomon being at the top, I think is pretty much expected, I would say. We know that X Antibody in BT9 just becomes like one of two of the best decks of that whole format, so we can expect to see the Ryudomon as well as the Hourumon here. Both of those are going to stay high. Like I'm surprised the Hourumon is even this low, because in BT9 this card is such a must-have because those Alphamon decks are insane, and especially with this guy. So I honestly think that this card will go back up. There's no way it stays this low. It should probably sit just about where Ryudomon is, or maybe a little bit lower, maybe about, you know, $5, maybe $10 less than Ryudomon, just because Ryudomon is a rookie. You see it a little bit more often, so maybe it could hold a little bit better of a price tag because of that. But yeah, the Hourumon being that low is a bit of a surprise. Ryudomon himself, though, $50 feels about right. We might see it go up to $60 closer we get to BT9, though. Kind of like what's his name, the other one, the other rookie as well, Dorumon. We might see him as well. You know, kind of they'll probably sit around the same price tag with each other. Fall down mode sitting about where you expect, a little bit more than pre-order prices. Magnamon alt arts are actually, I'm surprised they're this high. I'm surprised they're more than fall down mode is. I thought fall down mode would be the second. Imperial, pretty low. I mean, it really, for the most part, most people are only playing this at a 1 of in their decks. So even if you do want the alt art, you know, you only need 1 copy. So it drives the price way down when you don't need, you know, 4 ofs in your deck. Like a lot of these other ones are all 4 of, so it makes sense that their prices are high. But yeah, that's about it. For the rest of these, though, you know, the prices are pretty low. Flamedramon is one I want to take a look at. I was kind of surprised to see it this low because this is a rare, right? So the super rare is getting alt arts. Like the super rare and the alt art super rares, you know, sometimes they can go interchangeable on how they look. You know, the regular art might look better, but for Flamedramon just being a rare, getting an alt art is a really big deal. So the fact that his price went from $45 down to $29. And look, even 24 for sale right now. Looks like we've got some that are selling at around 28. Like that's pretty crazy that it's dropped that much that fast and still going down. Like it's still dropping, you know, by the day. So for Flamedramon, yeah, like being a rare, an alt art of a rare, I'm surprised its you know, price is as low as it is. Now speaking of more BT8 cards, so we got the Vmon here. This is our pre-release Vmon. That's why there's no picture there. This is your foil upgrade because it's normally an uncommon. This is going to be your foil upgrade, and the price of this is crazy right now. So $35 and still going up. Now, I'm curious if this card will continue to go up or not, though, simply because I think with the starter deck one, a lot more people are favoring the starter deck one, simply because you can add, Vmon or duo colors, for whatever it works for, if you're playing Armor Rush or Imperial. The starter deck one is a little bit more generic. But this one being, again, the or a hollow upgrade, the price tag definitely kind of makes a little bit more sense. This is probably the most primo pre-release card you can get. Really, any of your pre-releases that are uncommon rarities are going to have a little bit better of a price tag and have a little bit more longevity in their value, I would say, because a pre-release of a rare, that's not a foil upgrade. It's just a stamp. That's it. That's the only difference. Whereas these uncommons get that nice foil bump. So yeah, it makes a little bit more sense that he's up there. He is in 2 of the highest end decks of the format there. Armor's maybe not being as high end as Imperial, but they're still up there, right at the top of A tier with a few of our other big contender decks. So it makes sense that because it's used in two decks that it would be as high as it is here. Next up, we got Davis here, and look at this price increase. So up to $23. And take a look at our video from last month here when we talked about Davis. I was like, hey, Davis is not going to be this cheap. Literally, if you haven't got your Davises yet and you want to play these decks, you got to get it now because the price is not going to go down. I was like, if anything, it'll go up, but it will certainly not go down. And instantly proven right by that. Almost up $5 over what it was at when we looked at that initial price point. So yeah, we were at 17, now we're up to 23. That's a big jump, and like I said, it could definitely just keep going up as long as Imperial keeps winning. More people will flock to it, just like we saw with Blue Hybrid last format. The more and more it wins, the more and more people are going to want to jump on it. And for it being a starter deck, getting pretty much the whole deck is super easy and super cheap, except for this card. Like, this is like the only exception, the only difficult card to get, because there's not like a lower rarity. It's not like, oh, I could buy this, fancy foil upgrade of this one card, or I could just buy the common. I'll just buy the common so I can play the deck. With this, it's like you have to buy this or nothing at all. You have to invest in this Davis. And so that's, and they're in limited supply. It's an older card. They're not in print anymore, so finding them is very difficult. So their prices are just going to keep going up and up and up for sure. This card is going to get really expensive. I definitely could see it even going up a little bit higher than it is right now. What do we got at? 23 right now, a couple of them here, and not many copies. There's some copies, but for a deck as popular as it is, it could definitely just keep going up. I could see it being a $30 rare before the end of this format, or at least halfway through this format. Speaking of our Dorumons, though, earlier, the Dorumon there, $60. That feels about right. That's about where I expect it to be. I don't see it dipping any lower than that. It'll probably just ride out this 60 price tag all through this format, as well as we got EX2 about to come out in like a month, which doesn't change this deck up at all, but after that, we got BT9, which will definitely change this deck up. The Doro Greymons here are falling. Like I wanted to stress that in the previous one. Yes, this is a hollow upgrade of the uncommon from the set, but remember, we're getting this as a prize card. It's going to be in one of the tournament packs coming up here soon. So when we get that, foil alt art, there's actually 2 of them. There's a hollow one that's like a silver background, and then there's one where it's the same pose, but instead of the silver background, it's like a moon or something like that. So we're getting 2 more artworks or 2 more variations of this card. So this pre-release foil upgrade will probably go down even more. But then it's just a debate of which one's more higher rarity, a pre-release foil or a tournament pack foil. I guess it's just more of a debate. But either way, it should help drive this price down a little bit further, because I'm all about picking up hollow or foil upgrades to basically commons. So maybe after that card releases, this price will drop down a little bit more. If you're on the fence about selling yours, though, definitely want to sell this now, because this price absolutely will keep going down once that tournament pack releases. The rest of the stuff is probably not really anything too worthy to talk about there. Moving on though, Alphamon, kind of just going right off of the Doremon and X Antibody in general. This card will probably, I imagine it's just going to kind of stall out here. It shouldn't go up anymore. Black X Antibody right now, it is a very cool deck and very fun deck, but it's not like making waves in the format or anything like that. We haven't even really seen it get any tops yet. It could happen, but I don't think it's going to do anything too crazy. So I don't think the price of this will go up anymore. But once BT9 gets closer, this might drop down a little bit through this format. About halfway through this format, though, when people start thinking ahead into BT9, the price will go right back up, though. So it might drop a little bit, but it will start shooting back up the closer to BT9 we get. But while we're talking about pre-release cards and talking about this format, Security Control Yellow Hybrid Rapidmon is dominating. We're getting tons of Imperial tops, but the first place ones are pretty much always Security Control. So far, I think it's always been Security Control. So Zephyrmon is another one of those uncommon upgrades. So this is a foil upgrade to that. And look at this price. Just the more this deck does in this format, the more it's going to keep going up. People leading up to this were like, oh, Yellow Hybrid's not going to do that well. Security Control is not going to do anything. It's going to be all X Antibody and Imperial and maybe Armors. And I was like, man, Security Control is going to blow you guys away. I was like, S tier. Security Control, Yellow Hybrid, S tier, right next to Imperial. And they're like, nah, it's going to be Mass Day in Imperial. And I was like, no, okay, we'll see. And then 1 week into it, the price is already starting to go back up. Latest sales, like literally one sold today for almost $27. So yeah, we've got one here for sale. But that's, without shipping. So with shipping, you're in the 28s here, 29s very easily on this card, and it's just going to keep going up. So it might have bottomed out a little bit, but it's just, as long as that deck keeps winning first, we're going to keep seeing these prices go up. Same with Jet Sylphie, uncommon foil upgrade for it. Surprisingly, dipping down. This one blows my mind. Selling, for in the 30s, but it has it, listed here going down to 33 for a lightly played copy. You're still sitting in the mid 30s though. Another card that there's no way this continues to go down. It's just, as long as that deck's going to keep winning, it's going to go back up. I don't know if it'll go back up to $45, $47, but it definitely could go back up in the upper 30s for sure. Definitely expect it to. Now, another one that I'm surprised that has continued to fall is Jesmon. This is your Event Pack 2 alternate art, and look at these prices. So we're seeing these. It has it still as market price in the 90s, almost 100. But what's selling is one sold in the 70s. That's crazy. But before that was 85. These prices are bananas that they're this low. $71 for this. And with all that Jesmon support, we're still waiting to get a lot of BT10 results right now. But with the starter decks and the X Antibody Jesmon support that we've seen in BT10, I guess we're just waiting to see if it's going to start making waves in Japan. It's got all these new tools and utility cards to go with it to do amazing things, all the Gankumon stuff. So it's like the potential's there. I think everyone's just kind of waiting to see how BT10 unfolds in JP. And the second that deck starts doing very well, this card's just going to skyrocket back up. So I think it's like everyone's just kind of in this stall pattern of like, no one wants to like just jump on buying these without seeing what that deck does in JP first. But the second it starts doing well, these prices will go back up. So if you're on the fence about this, just keep an eye out on JP. Okay, so once you start seeing it do well there, you better go ahead and pull the trigger. All right. Like I said in the beginning, though, EX2 is a month away. I talked to my store today, In Stock Games in Sherman. They were saying how they're getting ready for their pre-release and putting in their orders, confirming how many cases they're going to get. And Beelzemon, one of the most fan favorite Digimon in the entire franchise. Beelzemon, Galenmon. This is a Tamer set. Tamers is the most popular, most voted for season out of all of Digimon. and a whole set dedicated to that. The fans will come back. Okay, if there are people who aren't playing it yet, they'll be playing it when this set comes out. People that might have dropped off from playing this game for a bit, taking a break for whatever reason, they'll come back for Tamers. Tons of people will come back for Tamers because it is such a favorite. And Beelzemon is way up there in favorites. So if you want to play this deck, or you might try to still make a penny off of it, if you're sitting on these, if you're waiting to sell them, you might wait a little bit more. The price has dipped down a tiny bit. We're cresting here, but I don't think people realize that we're literally a month away from this set. Give it 2 more weeks, and this card's going to start going back up again. Okay, so in about 2 weeks, that's when you should start looking at selling these. Same with the regular art here as well. It hit this big hype here, and it went up really, really big, and now it's kind of starting to come down a little bit because that hype has kind of died off. But again, that hype is going to come back again in about 2 weeks or so, and this card will probably go back up around that time. So again, if you're on the fence about these, just keep an eye out, because I don't see their prices getting any lower. They're going to start going back up because we're just too close to EX2 for these prices to keep going down. This card you just need this guy for, if you're going to be playing Beelzemon in EX2, you absolutely have to have a playset of this. So if you haven't got yours yet and you want them, you should get on it now, because these prices are not going to keep going down anymore. Maybe next week might be their lowest point, but that might be it, really. And we're right there. We're right there on the cusp of people being like, oh man, EX2 is almost out. I need to get ready for EX2. And then they're going to start buying everything up. So, yeah, just keep an eye out. And that's going to do it for us today. But I do want to talk about this weekend on Sunday. We've got a new tournament. I talked about it before. I'll go ahead and throw it up on the screen there for you guys. But it's for a box of Tamer Evolution 2. And those cards, the resale value on those cards are insane. The resale value of that whole box, and to be able to win one for free, that sounds pretty good to me. Their prizes are absolutely insane that they're giving out. So definitely go and check that out if you want to sign up for that. They're posted in Eventbrite. There, you got it on the screen for you. So go check that out.